Oh,
And that's
perfect.
it.
All right, it is 3:04. Wow, that's wacky. Yeah, it's louder. Okay, it's 3:04 p.m. and the date is Thursday, June 22nd, and we will be calling to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Library Board of Trustees. If we could have everyone stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll open with a period of public comment.
Madam Chair, you can see that we've got new equipment here in the room, and Matt is here from SOSU TV, and he'll help troubleshoot if we have issues, but he was working on it this morning, so we're getting things worked out, but if there are some issues, he's here to handle those.
Perfect, thank you so much. It's very exciting.
Yes.
So the new infrastructure is very exciting. All right, we'll move on to a roll call of members.
Tara Price Gritzmacher.
Ashley McGarity.
Kelly Kelly.
Joe Petteruti.
Jeff Weed from the District Attorney's Office.
CL Quillen.
And can we have verification of posting of the agenda?
The agenda was posted on June 15th, 2023.
Thank you so much. And moving on to item number 6, consideration and possible action, approval of the agenda as submitted or revised. Are there any questions or edits needed for the agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion from Joe. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Ashley. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And moving on to item 7, consideration and possible action of the approval for minutes of the meeting held on May 25th, 2023. The minutes are in your packet. Just take a moment to review those and let us know if there are any edits that are necessary. And if there are no edits, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Joe, a second from Tara. Please indicate approval with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And moving on to Library Board of Trustees reports. I'll kick us off and say that I'm thoroughly enjoying being able to do leisure reading. I'm on book number 6 since graduation and have signed up for the summer reading program, which I was delighted to receive a book when I first signed up of my choosing. And then I discovered when I went in to have Joe sign off on my tracking form that I can get a book every time I go and show that I've read a book. And so that it was suggested to me that maybe I should think about just stopping into the library every time I finish a book. But also that seems selfish and like hoarding riches like a large dragon. And so I'm still going to maintain my 3 to 5 book at a time rhythm. So that's all from me.
We did the summer reading program, and I was a helper in that.
The carnival.
Right, the carnival, sorry, for the summer reading program. Yep, that was it. It was fun. Becky does a great job, as always.
I also participated in the carnival. It was very fun. And my son signed up for the summer reading program as well.
Perfect. And thank you, everyone. I would encourage everyone to go and sign up. Adults are equally welcome to sign up for the summer reading program as your kiddos. Go and get some of the great free books. And with that, I'll turn it over to CL for our library director report.
Well, for the Library Pass program, which will continue, we've had 27 checkouts since June 15th, so a week ago, which was the most in the co-op. So that was nice. The summer reading kickoff was great, as both Joe and Tara said, and as Kelly said, it is not just for kids, and we encourage adults to participate. I just left, they were having a illustrator and some bunnies in the library today. Bunnies. Joe brought his bunnies over because one of Minnie Fan's books focuses on bunnies. So anyway, the kids were having a great time, and we had a great turnout. For the actual carnival, we had 225 people approximately, and we made $8. It was not intended to be a fundraiser, though, so pleased with that. Books, Bites, and Beverages is coming up, less than 2 months away now, so make sure you've marked your calendar because I think it's going to be a really fun night. We have some great giveaways, and the CLA is lining up some more. Statistics are in your packet. Please let me know if you have any questions. Circulation was down just a little bit over last year, but up from last month. Our patron visits were up from last year, but down from last month. So, had 66 programs and 854 people attended those. So, I think we're doing pretty well with that. We had 15 volunteers put in 60 hours, and that does not include, I don't think, all of the I'm not sure if that includes the volunteer hours for the carnival, because that was a lot of volunteers and quite a lot of work was put into that. We are surviving the ILS migration. We got, staff and I all panicked a little yesterday when we got a message about tomorrow. First, we thought that we were going to have to do all these things, which it turns out we don't have to do them. However, we will not be able to check any books in. We will not be able to check any books out through the system. We'll still be able to check out books. And I do wish they told us that, because it's so confusing for people coming in. Yeah, so, but that was a last minute kind of thing, so we're working through it as best as we can. We finally, maybe an hour ago, got the information that we needed so that the self-check machines will work next week. So Joe was going to try to test those, and hopefully all will be good with that, because it would stink if we can't do any self-checkout. We're not going to be able to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, just a quick, just to refresh my memory, what is the day that we approved for the library to be closed for the actual
Tomorrow.
migration? Okay.
Or not tomorrow, I'm
Monday.
sorry, Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Saturday we're closed.
Okay,
yes.
so tomorrow, it sounds like you're anticipating the challenges that are going to be coming, and everybody's kind of not looking forward to it, but is ready to deal with it.
Yes, I mean, probably in a perfect world, had we known that this was going to happen, then we probably would have asked to be closed tomorrow, because it would just be so much easier, but we'll also soldier through and it will be fine.
I also just want to lift up, since our friend Dave Breakbill isn't here, that this was like exactly the thing he's been waiting to hear for like 5 months. Like some unanticipated hiccup. And so I just want us all to hold Dave in our hearts for a moment, because he missed being present for the satisfying moment where he was like, I knew this was going to happen.
Yes.
Maybe
well,
make that sure it makes it into the minutes so he reads it.
Would you like to say that on his behalf officially?
Yes, I'm saying on behalf of my friend Dave Breakbill, I knew this was going to happen. It happens every time. Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, they told us they wouldn't do anything tomorrow until after 5, and so I don't know what happened to change that timeline, but it's changed and we'll deal. Legal kiosk was featured in the write-up about me in the newspaper, which was very nice, and on the website. I've been advertising it everywhere. It was we had quite a moment in the county department heads meeting because they were all telling Joe that he was going to be out of a job, that the legal kiosk was going to replace all of you guys in the DA's office, but I don't think we're there yet.
I did see actually a larger promotion of those legal kiosks, like on Twitter within kind of the political subset of folks. And so I was really excited to see that and then to know that we have one too.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a little news segment on this past week too, where they said there's 22 of them across the state. So I thought that was cool that we're one of the 22.
Yeah.
Good job.
So we are going to put together a brochure so that we can give that out to some of the other departments. I had lunch with Shannon yesterday from Social Services, and we talked a little bit about that and some other things. So I'm excited to be partnering with her as well, hopefully in the future. But she was happy to hear that we had that, and I think that with the legal questions that we get, it's going to be really useful. I have signed up to start with a product called Creative Bug in July. It's all kinds of craft videos and patterns and stuff. And given the number of crafters in the community, I think it's going to be really popular, and I'm also hoping to use it with some programming that we're going to be doing for all ages. It is geared more towards adults, but there is some stuff for the young folks too. So I think that's going to be a great addition to what we have.
CL, just really quick, the Creative Bug, is that like an online thing where it'll be accessible through the library's website, or is
Yes.
that? Okay.
It's an online program. People will log in with their library card, and then within it, there's all kinds of primarily videos. There are some like monthly challenges. So if you're interested in paper making or something, I don't know, or some kind of sewing or whatever it happens to be, there's something that you can do every day for 30 days to improve your skills in that area or to learn new things. So
That seems like it might be something really helpful for homeschoolers too. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had reached out about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and had someone from the United Way come and visit this month. They are trying to get that kicked off. There is an information sheet in your packet which explains a little bit more about that. United Way would be kind of the funder for it because that is, they provide a book for children between the ages of infants to up until they turn 5. So on their fifth birthday it stops, but every month in between from the time that the child is signed up, they would get a book sent to them at home. And they're hoping to really get started with the program this year and expand upon it as years go by. Funding, of course, is their biggest thing. And I'm really glad that we should have an opportunity to participate in this without it costing us in any way, because I think it's a great program. So they're hoping to do some sort of a kickoff and to do something locally in end of August or September. I don't know if that'll actually happen, but I will keep you posted on that. I put in your packet some information about program challenges versus materials challenges. We have a policy for materials challenges. We do not have a policy for program challenges. And while I don't know that we would necessarily have one, I think it's better to be prepared because that's something that you have to address much more immediately. You can, not that you are dragging your feet with a book challenge, or a video challenge or whatever, but you do have a little bit more time than if you have a program and you announce it and it's happening in 2 or 3 weeks. One of the other things that I attended the webinar, which the materials come from, and they were talking about removing your reconsideration form from online, which I'd like to do because it makes it so much easier, especially for some of these groups that go out and routinely ban. It's very easy for them to do a cut and paste job into a form online, whereas if they have to come in to pick up the form and actually have to fill it out by hand, that does discourage some of that behavior. So I'd like to work on a more comprehensive challenge policy.
So CL, would we wind up with a separate process document for programming challenges? Because we have the one, as you mentioned already, for materials. So that would be like its own separate
I'm not
document?
sure. I'm going to take a look at some of the ones that are already out there, and it may be that we revise and do one sort of, with, because there's a lot of similarity between the two, but there are certain differences, so it might make more sense to do one comprehensive policy as opposed to two separate policies.
So just we were having looked at the packet, thinking about whether we had, I remember, and I think we all have reviewed and remember the challenge to materials policy and what that process looks like. And most recently, I believe that we modified that to include that the person needs to be a patron of Churchill County Library in order to do it. So in that context, it seems to make sense to me to have the challenge form available, to be filled out in hard copy at the library. Maybe having the ability to request a form might be a nice middle point for that,
Yes.
as opposed to just having it up there that you can download and so on and so forth. When it comes to having a policy, I think that it is wise for us to have a policy related to how we handle program challenges, just considering, I don't know that we have had any in our community, but knowing that there are programs that are being challenged in other communities around us. My initial thoughts would be that it's probably smarter to have that be a separate policy than the materials, because that way they can both be updated and edited as necessary independently of each other. I don't know. My first thought would be to look at examples of policies from other communities like ours and then work with Jeff to hone that for us.
Yes, I will definitely be reviewing other policies, and they mentioned a few that were good already, but I want to make sure that they're, comparable communities and, scope.
Right. Perfect.
Jeff, do you have any recommendation in this regard? Or would this require more discussion before you have an opinion?
So recommendation regarding whether they should be the same document, things like that. I would just want to see what other communities and other libraries are doing first before we kind of I just don't know at this point. Yeah.
Couple things that are coming up. Churchill County requires a management training, and that will be happening in July. There's 4 separate dates that I'll be going to Fernley, so I wanted to let you know about that. It looks like a good training, comprehensive. Sure, a lot of it's going to be familiar, but it's good to know what the Churchill County way is as opposed to previous experiences. Well, I was told I was lucky that I was going to get to go to Fernley because a lot of times it's much further away. So, because it's actually, kind of statewide. Yeah. The co-op is having a leadership retreat in, Ely. Still working on pronunciation with some things. So it's from August 8th through the 10th. And the state library is covering it. The co-op and the state library are covering it through a grant, so it's fully covered. And then I'm planning to attend the Association for Rural and Small Libraries Conference, which will be held in Wichita in September. I've attended in person the last 4 or 5 of them, with one being virtual due to the pandemic. And having a conference like that where it's all small and rural libraries is just so valuable. It's also one of the most affordable conferences that I've ever been to because they include many of the meals. And I was able to find quite several of us that I've gotten to be friendly with over the years are going to stay in an Airbnb because it's much cheaper than the conference rate. So working all that out to be as affordable as possible, but there is also some money available through the state for conferences. So we'll
Great.
take advantage of that as well.
I just want to lift up, that way we're all thinking about it strategically, and I'm sure that this is something that the Library Association has thought about, but the Nevada Library Co-op Leadership Retreat just happens right immediately before Books, Bites, and Beverages. So I just want to make sure that you're planning and have the support you need in preparation for that event leading up to it. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm being very careful with that, and if I have to come back early or whatever, we will do what needs to be done, because I know that that's right up against that. But I think, too, the CLA seems to have done a great job in organizing things, and they've been running it for a number of years, so I think that we should be in good shape.
CL, I just have a follow-up question. When you were talking about the library park passes, did you say that they are going to continue?
They are continuing.
Good.
I'm not sure exactly for how long. It sounded like it could be an indefinite program, but
Yeah. Because initially it was just supposed to be those few months, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure because, of course, I wasn't here when it started. And I know in speaking to staff, they all thought that it was going to continue past unless it turned out to be a real failure, because just the time and energy it took to get everything set up and organized. So, yeah, I haven't heard anything more from the parks people, but if there's more information.
I notice that many organizations, right, will do a test launch of a program, and if it gains traction and it's popular, that gives them the opportunity to do like another push and say, this was so popular and such a success that we're going to continue doing it. So that might be what's happening. And then my final thing, just wanting to circle back to summer reading program. Is it the case, as it has been in past years, where the participation, the items can include any downloadables and
Yes.
movies watched through Canopy and so on and so forth, any of the materials?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't know that we've explicitly spelled that out as far as viewing as opposed to reading. But, I know you can read anything. It does not necessarily have to be library material. And, why not Canopy? Especially given that they have a more educational bent. I don't know, about anything else, because we are trying to encourage reading. But, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Are there any other questions for CL about our library director's report? No? All right, thank you so much. So moving on, the date and time of our next regularly scheduled Library Board of Trustees meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 27th, 2023 at 3 p.m. here in the Churchill County Administration Building at 155 North Taylor Street in the Commission Chambers. And moving on to old business number 1, consideration and possible action, approval of library director's outside employment consultation fee for feedback regarding building successful collaborations with communities pilot class for the National Network of Medicine.
And it's the National Network of Libraries is in there somehow, so it's not totally, so I missed that in there. I did have an opportunity to sign up for this pilot class. It is for 4 weeks. It's not a lot of time. Actually, I'll be staying late tonight because the online portion of the class is from 6 to 7. So I will be putting in some of my own time on this. But they did want feedback because it is a pilot class, and so they are paying a stipend of $100. But given our discussion the last time, I wanted to make sure that I got the approval.
Well, thank you for your diligence in that regard. Are there any questions from trustee members? If not, we'll accept a motion to approve consultation fee for feedback on this pilot class.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Tara. Do we have a second?
I will second.
All right, it has been moved by Tara and seconded by Ashley to approve the consultation fee for feedback in the pilot program for building successful collaborations with communities. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And moving on to new business, item 1, consideration and possible action to approve the monthly budget report. The report is in your packet. If you just take a few minutes to review, and now's the time to ask any questions about anything that pops up.
I do have a question, and this may have been in the report in the past, and I just missed it, but for some reason it stood out today. On page 4 of 8 of the initial budget that you gave us, the monthly one. Let's see, there's, I guess these, I'm not sure what they are. I guess, well, maybe it falls under it. I think I just answered no. Anyway, it's the line after utilities. There's 3 little items, and it's got, you know, the 2 different, the library address and then the 2 addresses for South Main Street. So there's 1,500 and change, 152 and 38.
I'm not
Dollars.
entirely sure about that, although I did call the city to ask some questions. My understanding is the ones for 507A and 507B are for the annex.
Right.
I'm not sure what the breakdown is between the A and the B.
Actually, I was more curious about what the charges were actually for.
Oh,
Because
that
it
is-
falls under utilities, that has its own line, but then
Right.
individual, so is that,
Well, it's
those
the-
little chips out of the utilities?
It's the electric,
fees?
water, and
Okay.
sewer. The 1,500 is for the library building.
Right.
The other 2 amounts are for the electric, water, and sewer for
Okay.
the annex. And
So they are utilities?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I'm totally gonna invoke the name of my friend Dave Breakbill again. I feel like since he's not here, I have to ask his questions. So isn't half of the annex used by a different county department?
Yes, it is, and again, I'm not too sure. I can follow up a little bit because I know,
I mean, I know maybe it feels a little bit nitpicky, right? But like everybody wants good accounting practices and such, and if the library doesn't occupy half of the annex building and that's occupied and the power, water, and sewer are being used by a different department, then it seems to me maybe that department should be paying that contribution to the utilities.
Yeah, that's
I
the
will-
emergency management group that's in there.
yeah. I will follow up with the comptroller's office and see. My understanding is that we have been paying this for a very long time.
I know, I mean, that's a book.
Yeah.
That's a free
Oh, sure.
ride.
So,
Oh, sure. No, it's a book or 2 every month. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, if you could look into that, that would be great.
sure.
And I mean,
Thank you.
again, it's not like it's a huge amount of money, but I know that accountants really like things to fall into the right places.
Yes.
Are there any other questions about the budget report? I have a question. It's not related to this specific report, but it is related to budget. And that is that at the county commission meeting yesterday, I noticed that there was something that was approved that involved 2 grants that were referenced for the library. One of them was an LSTA grant and one was something else. And I just don't know if we've heard about those yet.
Well, the LSTA grant and the other grant were both under Carol's tenure. The other one was for collections. We got something from the state. Apparently, that's been going on for a number of years, but there may not be any money this year, is what I understand, this coming fiscal year. So I don't really have a whole lot of details. I have no idea what the LSTA money was used for. But I can certainly look into that. I'm sure at the time, Carol probably,
Yeah, I'm sure we heard about it. If it predated you, then she was getting LSTA grants basically every year for a variety of different things. So no worries. It just popped up on the commission meeting yesterday, and I was like, oh, there's the library.
I will tell you, though, that while we're speaking about grants, and it's not in the packet because it only happened this week, we did apply for a $6,000 grant through the American Library Association for expanding our computer classes and things, and we did receive that. We are not restricted, well, there are some restrictions, but not that many. We can use it for more technology, which is what we're planning to do, because our Chromebooks and things are getting pretty old. They may actually have lived with the dinosaurs at one point. And so we will be using that to update. And I haven't gotten an official notice, but I did get a, hey, we just want to let you know more details will follow, but you did receive the grant.
I did notice in that second budget report that shows, for our 23-24 year, where you mentioned the LSTA grant, there isn't an allocation for our next budget year.
All right, any other questions about the budget report? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the monthly budget report as submitted.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the budget report as submitted.
Thank you very much, Joe. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Tara. We have a motion from Joe and a second from Tara to approve the monthly budget report as submitted. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. And on to new business item 2, action to approve the library gift fund. The library gift fund report's in your packet. At some point, this money from the gift fund is going to be moving over, right? Okay.
Yes, just because of the way that it fell, it did not get included in the May budget. So most of that money is going away. However, the interest on that money during May will wind up back in that account.
All right.
Just can't close that little
I
thing.
know, seriously, despite our best efforts.
We'll have to try a little harder.
It's all right, thank you. Are there any questions about the library gift fund report? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve it as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion from Ashley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Ashley, a second from Tara to approve the library gift fund report as submitted. All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. It looks like also in our packet, we have the 2023-2024 expense final budget. Is there anything you'd like to speak to us about with that?
That was, again, all approved before I started, so I don't know too much about the process. I did have a long-ish discussion with Sherry, the comptroller, the other day, just to get some more clarification on budget things and, finding out about different things. I also asked that going forward, there will be no money in the budget line, but because of the way that our budget is, and so as long as it stays within the operating, it's fine, but I have asked her to split up the AV so that we have physical AV, DVDs and such versus the online materials, Hoopla, Canopy, Overdrive /Libby, because I think it's important to see how that breaks down. And of course, DVDs and books on CD are kind of starting to sunset, so yeah.
Yeah, if you notice on page 2, Kelly, see where the blank line is?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what LSTA didn't, there's no grant money noted there.
Well, I'm not sure that some of that isn't applied for in the actual fiscal year. I think some of those things are going to be opening up, so it wouldn't be budgeted because we haven't received it yet.
And actually, in years past, like in the current budget, I think what we usually see is we see that the budget is a $0 amount, and then there'll be an actual that'll have the dollars of the LSTA grant funds that are received. So
Yeah.
I think that this is what we would expect. And I guess my takeaway from this is that what the department requested made it through to the final budget.
Yes.
So that's seems to be the learning point from this, is that the budget didn't change from what Carol had submitted as a request to what was approved. So, cool. All right, and then moving on to new business item 3, information only online trustee training.
The state library is offering online trustee training. I have signed you all up. Sorry. Tara already had the information because we were able to get that to her. I'm not sure why we were able to get that to her first, but I'm sorry. Anyway, they've extended that out, and so it is all online, something that you can do on your own time. I don't know if you've had a chance to.
I have signed in. I haven't taken a deep dive, but there's a lot of information on there for sure. So it looks pretty useful.
Yeah, I'm also included in that, so I haven't seen it yet because I literally just completed that because I didn't want you guys to be getting these emails and going, what is this for? So I did that this afternoon, so I would say within the next couple of days, you should get your personal sign-in information to access that.
I remember doing that. Well, it's been a couple of years, though, so.
Was it?
I can't remember if I did it like initially when I started with you
So
guys.
there is one that we do when you first become a Board of Trustees member. That's typically the ethics and OML, and they're the online asynchronous things with the certificates.
Right.
Pam is the one who always nags us about getting those done in a timely manner, I think. This sounds like maybe it's different, like specifically towards libraries. My question is this a resource that like is available for a certain amount of time and then goes away? Or is this like a database where you can work your way through it, but also the information is there to go back and refer to?
My understanding is that it is more like a database. We do have access at least
Okay.
for the year. And so, as something comes up, if you want to learn more about it, you'll have the access to be able to do the course or to review some of the information. They also, and I think that's included with this, they do offer some free trainings that are more of the moment kind of stuff. So you'll have access to that. But again, I haven't had a chance to get into it myself yet.
Awesome. There might be some resources in there related to policy around program challenges, for example.
Yes.
Cool. All right, just bringing it full circle. All right, is there anything else, any other questions about the online trustee training? Hearing none, we'll move on to a second period of public comment. And having no public, I will call us adjourned at 3:42 p.m. Thank you all.